Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well today. I'm really excited about today's video. It's been a while since we've caught up, but as you can see, my background's a little bit different because Ryan and I finally moved. We bought an apartment in Brooklyn this past month. It has been such a whirlwind. This has been a long time coming. I've been talking about this in my videos since like October. So I'm thinking, let me give you some background, and then at the end, I can show you a little sneak peek of the place. So, to give you some background, we moved to Brooklyn from Atlanta about like 2.5 years ago. We found this apartment that was pretty much perfect for what we were looking for at the time. We had a really big elderly dog. His name was Ace. He was a husky Malamute mix, and he was just the center of our universe. So we knew when we moved up from Georgia, we wanted to make sure Ace had some green space, but he's also super old and a huge dog, so we wanted to make sure there weren't too many stairs. If there was an elevator, that would be ideal. Basically, we found this apartment that was on the street level and it had a private backyard. So we ended up going with that one. I'm going to show you here the walkthrough. I still have it from when we were first doing a tour. So basically, when you first walked in there, you kind of walked like right into the living room. There wasn't any sort of entryway, and the living room and the kitchen were connected. They did have a cute little coffee bar, which was nice. So then you continue down the hallway, and we actually had a two-bedroom. So the one straight at the end of the hallway, that was the bedroom that me and Ryan shared, and we decided that Ryan would be able to decorate the main bedroom, and then I would get to decorate the guest bedroom. So I had all of my little fairy themed things in the guest room, and that's also where I filmed a lot of my videos. The best part of the whole thing is at the end of that bedroom, there was a door to our own private backyard. And it was so lovely. It actually went right up to a church. And so we had like a little hammock stand out there. We had little like patio furniture. But at the church, we would get to hear the choir practicing. So you could just sit out there and just like listen to the music. And yeah, it was a really lovely place to live. Basically, what kind of led us to have to move was our landlord. She actually lived right down the street. She lived in a big brownstone, but she also owned this brownstone. So she decided to sell the one she was living in, and she wanted to come moving to ours. So she decided to sort of, I don't know the best way to say this, but she asked the top two floors to leave so that her and her daughter could take over those. And we were a little bit worried about like she's going from a huge 4-story brownstone for herself. Like, I don't know if she's going to want to take over ours. And eventually she asked us if like we could share the backyard with her. She was thinking of like putting in a spiral staircase that went from the 4th floor apartment down to ours. And I don't know, we were just like a little concerned about that. It's her building after all, so we have to just sort of say that's fine. But in the end, didn't really work out. She did tell us, she was like, I don't know what I'm going to want in the long term, so I would like to move you guys to be month to month, where previously we had like a year-long lease. And we just sort of took this as our push to try and find a place to buy, which we were really nervous about this. Our friends who were on the 4th floor who ended up having to leave, they ended up buying a new place. And so they referred us to their real estate broker who they worked with. And she was so lovely. She helped us a lot just figure out what we could afford and help us on our hunt. And let me also just acknowledge that this real estate market has been crazy. The housing market, there's just not a lot of inventory, and there's a lot of, at least here in New York, there's a lot of competition for what there is for the few amounts of apartments that are available. You have to move like so quickly if you want something. So anyway, we worked with a real estate broker, we worked with an attorney, and they helped us to find the apartment that I'm in now. So, going into our actual apartment hunting process, our wish list, basically, as you saw in the video of where we used to live in our rental, it was very dark. And since it was street level, it didn't have a lot of privacy. It had these like really wonderful bay windows that look right out at the street. But where we had our like dining area was literally right next to those windows, which is right next to where people dump their trash in the building. So we'd be eating dinner and someone would be like trying to throw away all of their things like literally right next to us. So that was sort of unfortunate. And you don't want to close the blinds and stuff because you want to let in as much light as you can since it was so dark. And it was also, the ceilings were quite low. I don't know. We just wanted something that felt a little bit more bright and airy. But the good things about that apartment were, of course, the backyard. It was in a really good location that was very walkable, very close to a huge park. So we wanted to have kind of a similar thing. We were okay with saying goodbye to the backyard, but we wanted to make sure that there was at least like a park or some sort of green space that was walking distance from our new place. As I said, we wanted more natural light, more privacy. I personally really like the pre-war style apartments. I'm not really a big fan of like modern architecture. So I wanted something that was pre-war but maybe had some updated appliances and things. We also wanted to make sure that there was laundry either in the building or in the apartment itself. Our last place had it in the basement and everyone could share, but it was free, so that was really nice. Here in the city, it's not super common to see that. I also wanted there to be some sort of an entryway because I kind of like that you're not just walking straight into the living room area. We also wanted to still have 2 bedrooms because we really love having guests, and also we wanted to have separate office areas for each of us. And then this one's a little bit silly, but I also really wanted a window in the bathroom. I don't know why. That is not common here in New York, but our last bathroom felt like a little teeny tiny little like jail cell. It was so, I always felt really claustrophobic in there, and it was just like so dark. And so I really wanted a window in the bathroom if we could. And then the last thing that we wanted was just easy commute to Manhattan. I work from home, but Ryan works downtown. So those were really like the biggest things that were important to us. We actually lucked out that we didn't have to tour like a whole bunch of apartments. We started this search back in either July or August of last year. And we closed on our apartment in mid-February and we're like totally moved in March 1st. So during that time, we actually only seriously considered one other apartment. It was one that we had seen very early on that was very affordable for us, but it was definitely a fixer-upper. It needed a ton of work. And we went there quite a few times, and we brought contractors to get some estimates of like what would it cost to get this place cleaned up. Basically, the reason why that one didn't work out was the building itself didn't seem to be quite organized. But we did really like it because it was in the neighborhood we were in previously, so it was very familiar to us. It was very comfortable. So after that one didn't work out, we did tour one other one in that neighborhood, but it was just not, it didn't really click for us. So then I was feeling kind of discouraged, but I started going through apartments that I had already sort of decided against. And I saw one that actually was super cute and had almost like all of our boxes checked. The only reason I didn't consider it is because it was just a 1 bedroom. But we just decided to go ahead and schedule a tour and go look at it. And as soon as we walked in there, we just really liked it a lot. It had so much sunlight. It was so quiet. It had the most beautiful wood floors that had these little details in the corner. And it had these little crystal doorknobs on the doors. And this beautiful molding and all of the doorways. It had laundry. It really just had everything that we were looking for. The living room, though, was quite a bit larger than what we were seeing at other apartments. And so we thought that there's potential that we could section it off so that we could have another office in there. So that's what we're working on now. So she's modest, but she's all ours. I'm hoping in the near future I can show you guys a more in-depth apartment tour once it's all set up. There's been a lot of renovations happening because this is a 1915 building, and so some of the electrical needed to be updated, and we're also adding in a dishwasher, and also our kitchen sink just decided to stop draining, and the laundry water, soapy water, was just coming up through the sink. So we learned pretty quickly that you can't just call your landlord to come fix something when you own it. But it's been really exciting to get to customize our own space. So things are coming together. I'm just so grateful to even be in a position to be able to afford to buy our own place here in New York with our own money, and that we can kind of have more control over how long we want to stay and don't have to worry about housing security. Also, just knowing that the money we're paying is going towards building equity and we're not just paying for our landlord's mortgage. I will say our last apartment was roughly $4,000 a month in rent. It was like $3,700, but plus utilities and everything, it really added up. And this place, with our mortgage and our like HOA fees and our insurance and everything, it's under $3,000. So that's really exciting. So I think that this was the right move, especially since we really want to stay here for at least the next several years. But my goodness, it's just, there's so many hoops you have to jump through. So I'm so grateful for our attorney and our broker, and also just our friends and family for all of their support and all of their encouragement through this process. Ryan's dad flew all the way up here just to help us move out of our last apartment and into this new one. He was here for a whole week and was just sleeping on our floor. So I'm just so grateful for him. And then my parents drove up a U-Haul for 3 days from Georgia to bring us some furniture as well. My dad actually restained an old dresser that was in my childhood bedroom, and he left a little note in it for me just for this occasion that we bought our own place, and it's a big deal to us. I think it's really exciting. So to have all their support, and then with my friends, one of Ryan's friends gave us an old dining table. My friend Mikkel came with us to IKEA to go shopping for kitchen cabinets. And I kind of had a mental breakdown and I lost my phone. So she also helped us with a little impromptu scavenger hunt through IKEA. So all in all, I'm just so grateful. I can't wait to show you guys our new home. I can't wait to decorate and make it ours and make it whimsical. So thank you all so much for watching and for bearing with me while I hinted at this for since October. So I will see you guys next time.